Guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new, my name is Courtney. Today I've got 4 Christmas DIYs for you. A little bit of farmhouse, a little rustic, sweet, and whimsical. So let's get into these DIYs. For this first DIY, I'm going to be transforming this little Dollar Tree sign into a candy dish. So this is a little elf sign. His face was messed up on the front, and so I went ahead and bought it anyway because I decided I was just going to go ahead and paint the back. So the first thing I'm going to do is just take off the label with my heat gun. Then once that's done, I'm going to take some of the Fern Waverly chalk paint, and I'm going to paint the bottom part of this sign along with all of the edges of this sign, as well as the elf hat. Once this side was painted, now I didn't paint the back because I do keep flipping the sign over because I'm using that as my guide as to how to paint this. So now I'm going to take some of this flesh colored paint by Deco Art and I'm going to paint the face and the little ears of the elf. And then I'll just take a pencil and kind of sketch out where his little hands should go, and then also paint them with the flesh paint. Once the face and the hands were all painted, I did end up doing 3 coats of paint on those. I just took some Waverly White chalk paint and filled in this little pom-pom part at the end of the hat. Then I took my white chalk paint pen from Sharpie and I just kind of drew out the brim of the hat here. Any supplies that I used or talk about, I will link them down below if I can find a link. So I'll just check the description box if you are looking for something. And then I knew that I wanted to use some gold, and you'll see here, I couldn't get the lid off of my gold paint pen. And so in frustration of trying to twist the lid off, the whole thing came apart and I was able to go ahead and still use it. So if you didn't know that, if you're just a little aggressive with your paint pen, you can still use it. And then I went ahead and just took some white paint. I wasn't liking how the paint marker kind of left it a little bit streaky. So I went ahead and with some white paint and just freshened up the brim of the hat. Then for the next detail on the hat, I wanted to make some little green triangles here so that I could add some more of the little gold bells. I guess I'm assuming that's what they are, or balls, or whatever you want to call them. So I'm just going to use my paint pen here, and then I just go back a couple different times to fill it in as best I can. And then again, using my gold paint pen, which I ripped apart, I'm going to add little gold dots to the tops of each of these green triangles. Now I'm just going to take a pencil and sketch out his face. I'm going to do his eyes, a little mouth. Again, I'm just kind of looking at the front of this sign. I just used a black paint marker to do his eyes. And then when I go to draw his mouth, it gets a little wonky donk. So you'll see that in just a second. But before I did that, took a little bit of blush colored paint, and I just kind of tried to get off as much as I could and dab that on there to make his little cheeks rosy. And then I took the black marker here. You're going to see it. It gets all kind of wonky. And I just kind of go back in and clean it up and get it how I want it to look, because I just felt like his mouth was a little bit, I don't know, weird. Once I kind of cleaned up his mouth a little bit, I did draw on a little bit of hair, and I'm just using some of the hazelnut chalk paint from Waverly to color in his hair. I do go back in and put a little bit more green on those little triangles at the top. Then I take a red paint pen and draw some stripes on the hat, and then using the white, I do some dashes on the bottom of the sign. For the candy box portion of this sign, this is one of those little boxes. I, at this point, was trying to figure out what I did with the lid. I don't know where I put it, but it has the little house cut out of it. So the first thing I'm doing here is just taking a paint pen and coloring around the edge here. You don't need to do this step because I ended up changing what I was going to do here. So you can skip this step if you want to, or if you like that, you can leave it in as well. Then I wanted to cover my box with some fabric, and I found this cute striped fabric at Dollar Tree, and all I'm going to do is just cover the sides, or 3 of the sides, with fabric, because one of the sides is going to be smushed up against my sign, and I'm just using some hot glue to attach it, and then I'll trim the bottom and just kind of fold it up and hot glue it to the bottom of the box. Now I'm ready to finish up the front, and what I decided to do here is I'm going to use one of these little chalkboards from Dollar Tree to put the little price for the elf kisses. So I kind of wanted to place that down so I knew what size to make my vinyl stickers, and then using my Cricut I just cut out the word elf kisses. I will make a free printable down below if you want to print this out and stick it on here, or you can do it the old school way where you pencil behind it and then just trace over that. So I'm going to go ahead and apply these stickers, and then I will hot glue down the little chalkboard side. Taking a pencil, I'm just going to write 25 cents on the chalkboard and then use my Sharpie paint pen to fill that in. And then I'm ready to go ahead and glue my little elf sign to the front of the candy box. This is kind of where I went a little off track. So originally I was trying to find, I had picked up some of the mini red and green pom-poms from Dollar Tree. They're somewhere in this craft room, but if you saw my craft room right now, you'd probably understand why I couldn't find them. So I had these white ones, and so I went ahead and started hot gluing these around the edge. When I was done hot gluing them all down, I felt like it just didn't look right and I didn't like it. So then I proceeded to go ahead and pry all of these off and ripping them, and it left kind of, some little remnants here and there. And then I was like, oh, that kind of looks like snow. So I guess happy accident, that's what that's called. And I ended up just shredding a couple of these pom-poms and then gluing that down around the edge to make it look like it was snow all over the edge of the box. Once the snow was all placed around the edge of the box, I went ahead and filled it with some Hershey Kisses. I found some sugar cookie Hershey Kisses, which I guess are new this year, but the packaging on them had little red and green, I don't even know what they are, dots and spots, and as you can see, polka dots, and it just kind of reminded me of elves. So there you go, a cute little candy dish. For the next Dollar Tree DIY, I'm going to be working with one of these trees. And the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and take off the twine and then fill in the hole with some spackling. Once that is dry, I'm going to take some brown wax from Deco Art and I'm going to brush it all over the tree, as well as this little lid. This is the lid from the candy dish thing that I was telling you I had lost it and couldn't find it. I found it because I needed it, but this is the lid for that, and so I'm also going to brush brown wax all over the lid. once the tree and the lid are completely covered in wax, as well as your hands, you're going to take some hot glue and you're going to hot glue the trunk of the tree to the top of the lid, basically so that the house is kind of facing out, because that also is a little hidden decor element in this project. So you're just going to hot glue it on there, and then you're going to start to prep your candle. For the candle, I just had this little cranberry, whatever it is from Dollar Tree, and I'm just gonna peel the label off of it. And then once that was done, I took some of this red and white sparkly twine that I got at Home Goods last year, and I'm just gonna tie a very simple bow around it. And then all I'm going to do is this candle will go down into the lid of the box. To finish this little DIY up, all I'm going to do is add some little picks that I got from Hobby Lobby. The greenery is from Hobby Lobby, and then the little red berries are from Dollar Tree. And then I debated whether I wanted to hang some bells from the top of the Christmas tree, but I kind of just like it being nice and plain, and that's it. This DIY is all finished. Moving into this third Dollar Tree DIY, I'm going to be transforming this little sign. So the first thing I want to do is break it apart. So I'm going to pop off this little good morning, pop out the back, and then I'm going to paint the frame with some Crimson Waverly chalk paint. I ended up having to do about 3 coats because this frame was black. It was really absorbing the paint, so I had to go in and definitely give it lots of coats of paint. Now it's time to get this little gingerbread ready for surgery. This little ornament came from Hobby Lobby. They have so many cute little gingerbread ornaments. And the first thing I did, I literally felt kind of like a surgeon here. I was like, oh, here's the little operating table. I'm going to put this little guy down. I got my little scalpel over here, aka hobby knife. And I was going to try to cut his leg to make it look like someone took a bite out of it, okay? Well, when I went to go put the hobby knife in it, it really wasn't going in there very easily. I was kind of like, I was surprised, to be honest. So then I thought, well, maybe I need to sketch it out, make sure I do it right. So I sketched with a pencil to try to make it look like bite marks. It still wasn't working. So then I took a little pair of scissors thinking, oh, I'm going to have to cut his leg off. This is going to be so sad. And literally, I took the first little snip with the scissors and the thing just broke. So it was kind of, anyway, the legs break off really easily. So once I got that done, then I was ready to go ahead and get the back of my sign ready, which I just had this red and white striped scrapbook paper from Hobby Lobby, and I just traced the back of it, and then I just used some of the Gorilla Glue spray adhesive. Love, love, love this spray adhesive, and attached my paper, and then I'm just going to put the frame back together with some hot glue. It's time to assemble the sign. So I just took my little gingerbread guy and went ahead and put him in here so I could figure out where I want him to go. Then I'm just going to hot glue the little broken leg as well as the rest of the gingerbread to the back of the sign. And then on my Cricut, I just cut out the words, "Oh snap," and I'm just going to apply that to my sign. Now, just a little tip here, since I'm putting this on scrapbook paper, I'm using a piece of transfer tape that has been used over and over again so that I don't pull up any of the scrapbook paper print. And you just kind of put it down there, and then you shouldn't have any issues. And there you go. This sign is all finished. For For this last DIY, it is a thrift flip, but I wanted to show this to you because I honestly think that people could recreate this chair so easily. All you need are some branches. So the first thing I'm going to do here is just cut off this little weaved seat, and I'm going to end up making another weaved seat, but I wanted this to be Christmassy. And once that's all trimmed off, I'll pull all that off. And I have to say, if you plan on attempting this, please tag me on social media so I can share. I will put the measurements of all of these different branches in the description box. And yeah, seriously, these pieces are just held together with wood glue. There's no nails or screws. So the back has these two long pieces, and then it's got four. These are about the same length. Again, I'll put the measurements. And then each side has a top piece, a kind of a left piece, and then two in the middle. And then of course the bottom is curved. Then you've got that same piece there, and then two in the middle. And then you've got, again, the long piece. You see what I'm saying. And then the bottom, they're curved, but there are curvy branches out there. So I really, again, feel like you could probably assemble this chair no problem. Now what I'm going to do is go ahead and cut my fabric pieces so that I can weave the seat again. And here I've got a jelly roll piece. This was from a jelly roll. It's a piece of fabric. The first thing I'm going to do is just cut it in half with some pinking shears. And then I'm going to cut each of those two strips in half again. Once that's done, I'm going to take my strips, and first I'm going to wrap around the base of the chair, hot gluing as I go. Once the base was wrapped, now I'm ready to start weaving my seat. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go from right to left, placing strips of fabric, and I'm just going to hot glue it to the top and then hot glue it to kind of the bottom as well, just to secure it. And I'm going to leave a little bit of space in between each strip, and I'm going to just go from the front to the back. And then once that's done, I'm going to take strips and do it the other way and just basically feed them going over, under, from the front of the chair to the back of the chair, again, securing with hot glue. Here is the finished rocking chair all made over. Please, 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 if you decide that you want to try this project, tag me if you make it so I can share it on my social media. I would love to see people try to make this rocking chair. I really don't think it's too tricky. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. Let me know down below which one of these was your favorite. Also, let me know, what are you looking forward to doing over Christmas vacation? Is it light looking? Is it baking? Is it seeing family or friends? Drop it down below in the comments because I would love to know. I will see you guys in the next video. Here are a couple more that you might enjoy. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Bye.